Today we're going to talk about where is my stuff. When you first get a Mac, you may wonder where your files are. Where are my documents, my pictures, my photos, etc. Well, if you are a Windows user, you might be familiar with the My Documents folder in Windows Explorer. In the Mac, they have the Finder. The Finder is down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the dock. It's the little Happy Mac right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on that, and that brings up a window. This is a Finder window. It looks a little bit different than the Windows Explorer kind of window, but it's basically the same principle. The way Mac is set up is each user has a home folder. Home folder contains all their documents and preferences and everything. If you'll notice right here in the navigation bar, it says Mostly Mac, because that's my username here. And up here is Mostly Mac, so it tells you where you're at up here too. And if you'll notice, there's a little bit of little house there. That means that's your home folder. So that way you'll know where you're at. Inside the Mostly Mac folder, we have a desktop folder, which is everything on the desktop over here. Documents, where you keep any documents. Downloads is usually where if you download something in Safari on the internet, it'll put it there, which is a good thing to know. Movies, music, pictures are pretty much self-explanatory. Now, library, public, and sites, those are folders you don't really need. Those have to do with some computer settings and stuff, and if you're sharing files on your computer, not really that important, so you can pretty much ignore those. Now, if you'll notice, over here in the navigation bar, we already have a button for documents. If you click on that, that takes us straight to our Documents folder. And that's inside the Mostly Mac. And these are just little shortcuts here. These aren't the actual folders, it's just a shortcut to it. Or they call it an alias on the Mac. But you'll notice there's like My Documents. Right here, that's the same as this folder right here. We click on that. That brings that up. We click on that. Same thing, brings it up. Now, one thing you might want is, by default, I believe there's only a Documents folder here under Places. But let's say I'm going to want my Downloads folder, my Movies, Music, and Pictures here too, just to make it easier for me. What you can do is, we're going to make this a little bit easier for us. I'll explain this in a minute, but I'm going to change this from List View to Icon View. That's what that little button up there is for. Just make it a little bit easier to see. We have a Documents folder already, but let's say we want our Downloads folder to show here. We're just going to click on the icon and hold it with our left mouse button. We're going to just drag it over here until a little line appears. See that little line with the little dot on the end of it? And we're going to let go. All of a sudden we have a link to the Downloads folder here. We're going to do the same thing for Movies, Music, and Pictures. Okay? Now, if you'll notice when I was hovering over, if you'll notice, if you do this where it actually hovers over it, it's actually going to put it in that folder. The Documents folder is not going to put it in your toolbar right here. So you need to be careful it's not highlighted like that. It's just a little line. And I'll explain all this, how you move documents around later. So now we have all our folders there. Now you can rearrange these however you want. Just click and hold. Let's say I want the documents here. I want the downloads near the top. Public's at the bottom. You just click and just drag, and you can move this around however you wish to move it. It's fairly easy. But let's say I don't really need this public folder. It's nothing I really need. I don't need it there, and I need to get rid of it. All you do is click and hold and just drag it out of the box, and you see the little poof. Oop, now it's gone. You haven't actually deleted it. If we go back to our Mostly Mac home folder, you will still see that it's there. All it did was just delete the alias to it. So this just makes it an easier way when you're navigating, when you open up a Finder window. That way you can just kind of click through and go, oh, there's all my stuff right there. That way you don't have to go to your home folder and then click on like my music and do all like that. It's just a little bit easier.